Hello everyone, I hope you're well. I'd just like to start this week's Dvar Torah wishing Chaim Aruchim to the family of the late Hilary Wolf, to Estelle, to Michelle and David, and to the family of the late Oscar Dover, to Marlene and your children. We wish you all Chaim Aruchim. As of Wednesday, which was Rosh Chodesh Av, we began the period of time known as the 9 days, which is the second half, if you like, of the 3 weeks, where we intensify our level of mourning for the temple. Now we no longer even allow ourselves to eat meat other than on Shabbos, to drink wine other than on Shabbos, to bathe for pleasure, to do other pleasurable activities. And we do this all to help ourselves, to help us focus on the upcoming day of Tisha B'Av, when we will remember the destruction of the temples. And the Gemara tells us that the second temple was destroyed because of sinas chinam, which means baseless hatred. And it goes on to elaborate with the famous story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, where one man was accidentally invited to a party because he had a similar sounding name. One was called Kamsa, one was called Bar Kamsa. And eventually the proprietor, the owner, the one who was hosting the party, he threw him out, and he went to the government and he complained about what the Jews were planning, and told the governor the Jews were planning a rebellion, and that set in motion the events that led to the destruction of the temple. And I've often wondered about this term, sinas chinam. What does it mean, baseless hatred? Normally, if I've had a fight with somebody, it's not baseless. I have a reason. Maybe he insulted me. Maybe he stole from me. Maybe he hurt me physically, verbally, or emotionally. So what do we mean when we talk about baseless hatred? And I think the answer is that chinam means it's unnecessary, because if we were able to work on ourselves, we wouldn't have this feeling of hatred within us. A few weeks ago, we spoke about the Jewish people in the desert, and they complained. They wanted meat. They were fed up of the man. And they said, we remember when we had all this food in Egypt, and they use this term again, they use this term chinam. We had it for nothing. It was free. And Rashi already comments, since when did slaves get their food for free? And he explains it means chinam min ha-mitzvahs. They were free from obligation, free from themselves. They didn't have to work on themselves, be committed to Hashem to get their food in the way that the man, the food in the desert, demanded spiritual perfection. And perhaps we can apply the same concept, the same idea to sinas chinam. Chinam means it's baseless because if I would just be a bit more mature, if I'd be a bit more understanding of the other person, if I was able to be more forgiving, then I would say, okay, maybe they hurt me, maybe they didn't realize what they were saying, maybe they didn't realize how I would react, they didn't realize it hit a raw nerve, or maybe they hadn't meant it, or they hadn't thought about it. So if we were able to build our spiritual selves and grow and become greater people, then this type of hatred wouldn't exist. We of course live in a time where it's very popular, very much in the news, the idea of racism. Racism is really the ultimate sinas chinam. It's hating somebody for no good reason. The way we can overcome it is through education, through personal growth, and we can understand that everyone's made as a tzelem Elokim, and that most people are in the image of God. Most people are good people. Most people want to do the right thing most of the time. And if we become better at improving ourselves, then when someone does something to us, we'll be more able to forgive, more able to move on, and have less hatred within us. And I think that in these difficult times of Corona, there's not been, unfortunately, many silver linings, but I think one of them has been that in difficult times, people are given the opportunity to become more giving. And what's gone on around the world in the Jewish community, both here in Liverpool and elsewhere, has been an example of avas chinam, love for no reason, just volunteering to help someone who you might not even know. Some friendships have developed and blossomed just because people have been buddied up with people they never knew, and they just got to know them. And they've started to become friends. And I know somebody who told someone, well, after all this, when we can go out again, we'll go for a coffee. We'll get to know each other even better. This is the antidote to baseless hatred. The antidote to saying, well, they're not in my social group, therefore I don't need to take care of them. It's about saying we're all together, we're all Yisrael, we're all responsible, we're all Arevim, we need to look after each other. And let us hope that in Shomayim, it's been seen how much effort we have made in avas chinam in recent times, in loving each other for no reason. And please God, that will herald the redemption, the coming of the third temple speedily in our days.